Alrighty, welcome back to my garage, guys. It's great to have you here. So behind me is a 10th gen Civic. So I'm very excited because today's video is going to be installing a new part that's going to be featured on their catalog really soon. So what I have in front of me is another part from Acuity Instruments that's going to be a direct OEM replacement. Now, this is essentially going to be replacing the plastic rocker arm that is used for gear gate spacing. Essentially what that means is that the side-to-side selection between gears is essentially created with this pivot arm. So Acuity tells me that there are 3 benefits of this design over the OEM plastic piece. So they altered the geometry in a way to make shift spacing or gate spacing more narrow. And what I mean by that is that you will actually be able to move the shifter side to side in a much shorter distance. So the second benefit is that this piece is made out of one solid piece. With the solid piece of metal replacing the plastic component, you can definitely see how flex would be reduced, because I did actually notice that there is a little bit of play once the shifter is in gear. Now I'm really excited to install this piece and see how much of that is going to be reduced. Also maybe in neutral it might even have a little bit of an effect. So the final thing that Acuity has done is actually improve the tolerances between the spherical joint on the main pivot. It's really cool that they were able to decrease the tolerances to remove a lot of the play that you would experience in the soft shifter arm. So that's great design work on their part. Okay, so with all those new benefits with this new part, I'm really excited to install it because mainly the old one, if I remember correctly, was actually really easy to remove. So the only difference between this part and the OEM piece in terms of installation is the fact that this new piece has a security bolt on the back, but I'll explain more of that once I get everything taken apart. Alright guys, with the stock component removed, you can see the differences between this one and the Acuity one. First off, this part looks beautiful in comparison to the stock component. So putting these pieces side by side, you can see that the Acuity rocker arm has an extended fulcrum arm for the gate spacing cable. So it's also really cool because just feeling this bushing right here, I think it's going to need minimal amounts of lubrication, mainly because I think the material they use is some form of self-lubricating plastic or bushing, and that's really cool. And also these fasteners look really, really nice. And you can see that the bolt on the end is used to fasten it instead of that pinch clip in order to prevent the rocker from moving side to side inside the shifter assembly. Oh my gosh. So yeah, this feels really, really firm now. This sounds a lot less like plastic and more like something solid now. Okay, so if I were to put it in first gear, yeah, that is much less than before. Putting it in the second, much better. Alright guys, so I've been driving with the new rocker installed on my shifter, so let's go for a test drive and let me tell you guys how it feels. Guys, so now that we're in the car, I wanted to give you guys my first impressions when I started driving. Basically, right off the bat, I noticed that there's a lot of improvements from the stock shifter assembly. There's no like little catches here and there. It's very, very easy to engage every gear now. And as I mentioned before, the play between the gears is drastically eliminated. So another thing I noticed was that downshifting from third to second, effortless. It is so easy to engage second gear and first gear to lower gears. So Acuity also sells these cable bushings that I'm actually probably going to get now that I have the rocker arm stiffened up side to side, because there's still a little bit of play, but I'm really curious on how solid bushings on that end of the transmission system would affect the performance even more. Alright guys, so to sum things up, I highly recommend you guys getting this rocker replacement. The part is so easy to install. Honestly, if I wasn't filming, you could probably install one of these within 30 to 45 minutes. That's how easy it is to actually remove the center console with basic tools, and with the clear instructions that they provide, it should be a piece of cake. So if you're planning on doing anything to modify the shifter assembly in general, especially by doing something like an adapter or something, I highly recommend you get this rocker as well. Mainly because, one, great price, great quality, and the part fixes a lot of small issues over the stock components. Alright guys, so I apologize for an abrupt jump in time, but essentially I had a different ending plan for this video. But since I've been driving the car for several thousand miles since the actual filming of this video, I thought I'd give you guys more feedback on how all the parts from Acuity Instruments are currently doing in my car. So I've driven about 5,000 miles on these parts, and as you can see from my odometer, my actual Civic is now reaching about 12,000 miles. So the parts installed right now that I'm going to be talking about are the shifter rocker arm that we just installed in this video, the base bushings, the shifter cable bushings, the gas pedal relocation bracket, and the Acuity shift boot collar. So in those 5,000 miles, I can definitely vouch that I haven't noticed any changes or significant wear on how the shifter assembly is behaving with these parts. Now, if you guys look right here on how it sounds, with my foot now on the clutch, with the shifter right here, I'm gonna shift in the first gear, still nice and crisp, second gear, third gear, fourth gear, fifth gear, and sixth gear. So as you can hear right there, the shifts still sound awesome, and they still feel the same exact way that I did on the first day that I installed them. So I do plan on extending these comments into a designated video that's pretty much going to talk about each part one by one after the 5,000 miles that I've pretty much driven on all these parts. So stay tuned for that video, because I really do want to help you guys understand what to expect from all these parts, what improvements you should be seeing, and how they all compare and relate to each other. So regardless, I want to thank Acuity Instruments again for sponsoring this video. I look forward to working with you guys in the future, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. Have a nice day, guys. Bye.